Welcome to our video on the Ag Sales course, and the focus or the topic is retirement planning. Now, that's already been a section that we've covered in the book, but I wanted to add a little bit more to that in this week. So the several things I want to talk to you about are, number one, what are some important time value of money concepts? And then really number two, how can you or what should you think about you're going to need as a plan for your retirement? Especially thinking of if you're going to be a consultant, you're going to be self-employed. Saving for retirement and planning for that will be totally up to you. Even if you're working for a company, this is something you ought to apply. So hopefully this video helps you learn a little bit more about time value of money and more detailed about how you can build a retirement plan and how much it might take. Let's take a look at an example, which this Excel file I use, you also have a copy to use yourself. Let's take a look. All right, I've built this Excel file to let us look at this, and really the two topics are here at the top. Discounting is looking at taking some future value and bringing it back to today. The concept is a dollar today is not worth the same as a dollar in the future. That's just kind of rational thinking. We know that. But how do we measure that? Well, discounting looks at that value in the future and says, well, what's that worth today? And it's going to be worth less today if you've got to wait to get it. Now, the other way is to flip the coin around. And it is sometimes useful to look at what value today exists and how can we estimate the value in the future. That's called compounding. So anytime we look back at some value today, that's a present value, that's called discounting. Anytime we look in the future, that's called compounding. And those are the two terms. Now, what are the variables that go into time value of money? There's another video that talks about that, but they are right here. Money, rate, and time. And those are the simple examples. Now, I've got a retirement planning example built, which is really kind of my focus. So let's get right to this. I've also got formulas already written because I'm really not trying to teach you how to do financial calculations, but I want to show you the importance of having a retirement plan. All right, so let's look at our first question. What do you need today to retire on? Now, that may be a silly question because you're like, well, I'm not ready to retire today. I'm quite a bit older than you, so I'm closer to this, but you are not. You're further away. So you're actually lucky. How much money do you need to retire on today is a question we can all answer. I know if I had to answer that question, I would say, well, I need, let's say about $10,000 a month, which is a crazy amount to think of, but once you get older, you start to spend more and you need more, you got more obligations, so it's $10,000 a month. Well, that $10,000 a month is what I might say I need, but that's my value today. What do you need in value today? If you were going to retire at your age using today's money, maybe your number is more like I need, let's say $60,000 a year. So I'm going to put in $60,000. You have the sheet that I hope you will use to get your own answers to these questions. All right. What about rate? Well, I'm going to go ahead and give you a rate. I'm going to say 0.03. That's 3%. I've got this sheet formatted to be a percent. So I'm going to say that today I could live on retired $5,000 a month. Let's just give that answer. Now, my money is going to change over time. This is kind of like a rate of inflation. 3% is probably a little high based on monetary policy of today, but I'm going to put 3%. Now, the last question is, when are you going to retire? Now, I'm going to look at you as an example, and I'm going to say you've got an age range that's going to be probably around the 20-year time period. And so at a 20-year-old person, what age would you retire? Well, if you use the age of 60, then you've got 40 years to save. So the calculation has already been done. What I did was I calculated the future value. So what am I doing here? I am looking at compounding. I'm taking a value today and estimating a future value. The functions are all over here pulled up. Excel will do these for you. What I did was I plugged in the rate of 0.03. I used the cell for time of 40. And then on present value, I put a negative in front of that. That way my answer is going to be positive. Time value of money is always comparing compounding, discounting, and it's using a plus and minus to get the answer here in the middle. So I usually put a negative on these values so that I can get my answer to be in a positive term. What does this mean? This means that if you think you need $60,000 a year to retire today, by the time you go out 40 years, you're going to need $195,000 to live just like these variables allow you to live today. So if you say you need $5,000 a month, that's $60,000 a year today, when by the time you retire in 40 years, you'll be drawing $195,000 and living the same way you live today on 60. Kind of hard to imagine, but if you think back to not too long back, for me, my first brand new truck was bought at about a $24,000 price tag. Now that was ordered brand new, just like we wanted. If I had a similar truck today, that truck would be $60-something thousand. And so a short period of time, 30 some odd years, those trucks have gone up quite a bit. If you go back and look even 5 years back or 10 years back, it's easy to see prices go up. So that is an estimate based on these variables. What if you said 60,000 is not me, 70,000 is me? I've already done the hard work. The formulas are there. That means you're going to need like $228,000 to live like this today. Let's go back to 60,000. Oops, that's too many. I think that's probably a good estimate, but you decide what your value is today on the money you would need. Now the answer is 195,000. So let's go to the second question. Well, how long do you plan to draw it? That's a nice way of saying how long do you think you're going to live? So when you retire, your money, $60,000 today, it's $195,000 back then. So I went ahead and just brought that down. That's your annual payment. The question is, how long are you going to live? Now, let's say that I'm retiring at age 60. That's up here. That's what got me 40 years out. Let's say I think I'll live easy to 90. So that means I've got 30 more years that I'm going to be living. So I got 30 years, I'll retire. I'm going to draw every year $195,000. But while I'm doing that, I am going to earn some money. Now, you're not going to be very aggressive, but I'm going to say that you can earn 4%. So that means by the time that you get to retirement age, you're going to need a bank account or an investment account with about 3.3, nearly $3.4 million in your investment account. Now, that's the amount of money you're going to have to get that done. That amount of money, the nearly $4 million, is going to give you $195,000 a year, which is like living on $60,000 today. So back up here, you weren't too flush at this. If we change that to $70,000, then you're going to need nearly $4 million. So you can see how this kind of escalates up. Let's go back to $60,000 and leave that there. All right. That's the amount of money I need. What do you call how long do you plan to draw it? We're really calculating a present value at retirement age based on future draws of money. So this one is actually discounting to try to get back. Remember, this is how long do you plan to draw it. And so I'm looking at today, thinking of how much I need at retirement age. So I'm calculating this present value. But that's at retirement age. Now, the question is more important today, how much do you need to save for that? So I'm back to discounting because now you can see I switched this. It was present value at retirement age, but now I'm going back to today. So I'm back on my today value here. In fact, I should add that in here. This is your today value. Okay. All right, so today value means that we're going to need an account of nearly $3.4 million. Now, I went ahead and I've got 40 years to save. So if you say you've only got, less than that, that alters all of these numbers. They're linked together, if you will. So if you don't change the ones in green, your sheet will stay working. You want to change these empty spaces that I've asked for you to fill in. So what is your question on today? Well, you're going to build a retirement portfolio, and it's going to try to earn you money across, you've got 40 years in this case. So hopefully you can build a retirement that will earn you, let's say 12%. This isn't too hard to earn, but let's put in 12% and hit enter. There are the calculations. It looks like that if you save once per year, you only need to save about $4,400. If you save every month, you only need to save $287. Now you may say, hold on a minute, let me go ahead and do the math for you here on our sheet. That divided by 12 is actually $367. Why do I only need to save $287? because this puts your money in once per year. You put in $4,412 once per year, and that will help get you to that $3.3 million. If you divide that by 12, it's quite a bit more money. You wouldn't do that. If you're going to save, you're going to save every month. And it's actually cheaper on you to do that. The reason why is you are compounding. You are taking your money every month and investing it, and it's growing faster and faster and faster, and that's how you achieve this. All right, so we've got some answers. Let me just write them down here so we have them. So I need to save, and I'm going to go monthly because that's really how you should do this. I'm going to save per month $287.68, and I went ahead and just typed that so I could see what happens. What if you wait just 5 years? And a lot of students do this. What if you wait 5 years? What happens? Well, let's just go up here and see. So instead of having 40 years to save, I'm going to back it off to 35. Nothing really changes but my time. So if I click this, now I've got an answer, and my answer jumped to 453.97. Whoops. That means that waiting 5 years cost me another, let me get that right. Waiting 5 years cost me another $166 extra dollars. And in fact, it cost me an extra, let's see here. It cost me an extra 58% more money to wait 5 years. So reviewing, what are the variables of time value of money? It's money, rate, and time. Which one of those do you have the most control over? It's time. And so this is the one that you really want to focus on. If you wait 5 years, it's going to cost you 58% more money. What if you waited 10 years to get started? You've only got 30 years to save. It's going to cost you quite a bit more money. I'm looking at now having to do $720. It's costing you 150% more money. So what's the most important part of retirement planning and time value of money? Test question is going to be actually this idea of time value of money, and time is the one you control. The variables here are all listed. Your homework this week is actually just to take this Excel file that I've emptied out and fill out your estimates of time value of money and report that back to me so I can see kind of what you guys are all thinking. All right, hopefully this video helps you understand, number one, a little bit about time value of money, because that's part of what I want to try to cover as part of this class, especially in the Weiss book. He talked about retirement planning, but here's some practical examples. And here is a Excel file that I hope you save on your own and kind of explore. I would encourage you to seek out a retirement planner. This is actually a great time to begin retirement planning, so hopefully it's something you may get going. But this sheet gives you just kind of some rough numbers on what you would be looking at. So hopefully this video and Excel sheet helps. Thanks.